Have you ever felt like someone was watching you? Maybe you were walking down the street and suddenly a chill ran down your spine. You turned around only to lock eyes with a stranger. How did you know? Was it a coincidence, or is there something deeper at play when we feel observed? Believe it or not, science might have an answer, and it could change the way we think about reality itself. Let me take you on a journey. Imagine a darkened laboratory, dimly lit with glowing screens. It's the early 1800s, and a physicist named Thomas Young is about to change history. He's curious about the nature of light. Is it a particle or a wave? To find out, he sets up an experiment where light passes through two narrow slits. On the screen behind the slits, he expects to see two lines, like beams, shining through a window. But what he gets is completely unexpected. A pattern of stripes like ripples on water. Light is acting like a wave, but the story doesn't end there. Decades later, scientists repeat Young's experiment, but with a twist. They place detectors by the slits to observe which path the particles take. And here's where things get truly mind-boggling. When observed, the particles behave differently. They act like solid objects, not waves. It's as if they know they're being watched and change their behavior. Just think about that for a moment. The act of observing changes the outcome. Let's pause here for a second. Have you ever noticed how people act differently when they know they're being watched? At work, when the boss walks by, suddenly everyone sits up a bit straighter, works a little faster. When you're on stage, every word feels heavier, every move deliberate. It turns out this isn't just a human quirk, it's a scientifically proven phenomenon known as the Hawthorne effect. Studies from as far back as the 1920s revealed that people's behavior changes simply because they're being observed. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Researchers at Newcastle University once placed a simple image of eyes above a coffee payment box. No words, no cameras, just eyes. What happened? People paid nearly 3 times more for their coffee than when the image was replaced with flowers. The mere suggestion of being watched made people act more honestly. It's almost as if we instinctively know observation matters. But why? Why does being observed change us? To understand this, let's dive deeper. In the world of quantum physics, particles behave in strange, almost magical ways. Without observation, they exist in multiple states at once, a blur of possibilities. It's only when we observe them that they decide on one state or outcome. This is known as the collapse of the wave function, and it challenges everything we think we know about reality. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's cool, but what does this have to do with me? Well, let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of experiments where focused intentions seem to influence the physical world? Researchers like Dr. Dean Radin have conducted studies showing that when people focus their minds on random number generators, the outcomes shift slightly. It's small, but it's measurable. Could it be that our thoughts, our attention, have power? Consider this. In Eastern traditions like Buddhism and Hinduism, the idea that consciousness shapes reality isn't new. Meditation, mindfulness, and focused intention are seen as ways to influence the mind and, by extension, the world around us, and modern science is starting to catch up. Studies on meditation show that consistent practice changes the structure of the brain. Neural pathways become stronger, areas related to focus and empathy grow. Where attention goes, changes follow. Think about your own life. Have you ever set a goal, something you wanted more than anything? Maybe it was getting fit, learning a new skill, or building a relationship. You focused on it, thought about it, worked towards it, and over time you saw progress. This isn't just determination, it's attention shaping reality. Neuroscientists call it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and adapt based on what we focus on. But let's take a step back to the quantum world for a moment. In 2015, scientists in Australia confirmed that observation changes reality. When particles were measured, their behavior changed. Lead researcher Andrew Truscott put it plainly, reality does not exist if you are not looking at it. Think about the implications of that. If reality doesn't exist without observation, what role do we play as observers? Could our awareness be more powerful than we ever imagined? But let's go even further. In social psychology, there's something called the bystander effect. When people see someone in need, like a person collapsed on the street, they often don't help if there are others around. It's not because they don't care, it's because they're waiting for someone else to act. But when one person steps in, it breaks the spell. Suddenly others help too. Observation shifts the behavior of an entire group. What does all of this mean? If observation changes particles, thoughts shape our actions, and attention influences outcomes, then maybe, just maybe, we have more influence over reality than we think. I know this sounds like a lot to take in, but think about the last time you really focused on something, a goal, a problem, or even a person. Did you notice how your focus seemed to change things? How opportunities appeared, how people responded differently, how the world shifted in subtle ways? Some scientists believe that consciousness is deeply connected to the fabric of the universe. It's a theory known as the participatory anthropic principle. In simple terms, it suggests that we, as observers, play a role in creating the reality we experience. This idea challenges everything we know about fate, free will, and the nature of existence. But before we get lost in theories, let's come back to something tangible. Studies on gratitude show that people who focus on what they're thankful for see measurable improvements in happiness, health, and even brain function. their brains literally change. What we focus on becomes our reality, not just in our minds, but in our bodies and our lives. So, the next time you feel like you're being watched or you catch yourself observing something closely, remember, it's not just a passive act, it's a connection, a moment that has the potential to change everything. Observation isn't just about seeing, it's about participating in the unfolding of reality. Do you think observation has the power to change reality, or is it just a strange quirk of physics? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to explore more of these mysteries with us, don't forget to subscribe to Universal Insights. Share this journey with friends who dare to question the nature of reality itself. Thank you for watching.